I wasn't entirely sure what colours I wanted to do on the sacred geometry stone, so I started playing around with the colours I've got, and I decided to do this ombre gradient with the pinks on top of the grey, and I think pinks and grey work really well together. So I started with the bright pink right in the middle, so that I've got ombres through from 1 to 6, 1 being the lightest that you can see I'm putting on here with these tiny dots around the large dot, and 6 being the brightest, which I started with in the middle. So working from my smallest tool, which was my pink on the previous row, and then using my yellowy orange tool now, I'm moving out, and each time I increase the dotting tool size by 1, and then I also go up the gradient by 1. So starting at 1, I'm now on 3 and using this orange tool, but I'm using the other end of it. So it's a slightly large dot. And then moving on to number 4 on my ombre scale here, I'm also now using my white tool. Now this video is obviously sped up slightly, but please do take your time. It is really important to get the spacing right, because as you move out, you will find if you haven't got the spacing as good as possible on these early rows, then your larger dots will be misplaced and they won't look quite right. So as I said, just take your time placing each dot, taking time with the amount of paint you have on your tool and also the spacing as you place them. So now I've moved on to my green dotting tool and I'm back onto the brightest pink, which is number 6 in my ombre scale. Now I've made the design decision to go from that bright pink, number 6, right in the middle of the large dot, and then moving out from the lightest, 1 to 6, and then I'm going to go reverse. So then I'm looking at 5 now, as you can see on the screen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got a bit of a wave in my ombre gradient on this stone. Another variation you could do, which I'm going to do in a later stone anyway, so I'm going to have a try and I will put that video up for you guys, is to start with a colour at the beginning and then slowly add a tiny piece of another colour into the paint as I go. So there are a couple of options I've been playing with in my head for this. So you can either keep with a single colour and add more of the pigment of the colour into a white, and so you're just getting it brighter as you go, or you could graduate your change, so you colour fade into a different colour. So you could start with blue potentially and then gradually add more and more green as you go through each row and each circle of your dots. And to be honest, I'll probably do both in a number of different colours over the coming weeks and into the new year. I just enjoy dotting. It's really relaxing. I enjoy watching people look at them and they marvel over how long they think it's taken and the accuracy of the dots. I just love creating something that somebody will then take away and keep. So now I'm moving back on to the number 1. So I've gone from 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm now on the acrylic rods, as you can see in the video. I've moved up from the round ball dotting tools onto the acrylic rods. And these are the largest dotting tools I have at the moment. So the acrylic rods go up to, I think, 15 mil. Maybe I might have an 18 mil somewhere in the shed that I don't use very often, but they're the biggest dotting tools I have for these Mandala stones, and they're fine. I kind of prefer the ball dotting tools for my own habits and how I do that, but these work really well. And when you get to the edge here, I haven't increased the size of my tool because we're moving over this domed corner here, so just the edge of the stone, so the surface area that I'm painting is exactly the same, or near enough anyway, so that you can use the same tool over and then you start decreasing size going towards the base. Unfortunately, I didn't film that bit, so apologies, but yes, so then you just reduce the size of your dotting tool as you go towards the base of your stone. And now I'm just working with those tiny dots again, so I decided to use the bright pink, so number 6. I went with that rather than a different colour because a lot of my other stones have a gold or silver effect, but I just wanted to lift the light pinks that are on this stone. So I've only got a couple of rows that are this bright pink, but a lot of the others are graduations getting lighter. So I thought the bright pink number 6 would be a good contrast to the rest of the colours on the stone. And this part of the stone painting is very fiddly, but you just got to take your time, making sure you clear off your dotting tool if you get too much paint on it, because then it can splodge onto your stone, which you don't want. I think I normally clean my tool after about 6 to 8 dots, maybe, in memory. I don't know, I just sort of do it automatically. And then as you move towards the centre of the dots, the spacing gets a bit less anyway, so you want to hold a little bit less paint each row that you move in on your dotting tool. And depending on the thickness of your paint, you may want to dot it on a scrap piece of paper or something to the side before you place it onto your stone. And now I've moved from my ball-ended dotting tools onto this tool that you can see in the video now. And I made this tool because I couldn't find one that was narrow enough. So this is just a bit of wooden dowel with a 0.25 drill bit put in the end, upside down and glued in. I have a few more of these to make, so I'll put a video up of those when I do it. But the last few dots going on now, again, just taking your time to place them in, making sure we don't smudge any as we go. And that's it. And this is the finished stone. I hope you like it as much as I do. Let me know what you think.